The last time I was explaining to you this, that and the other about PO4 and what's going on with that. Prior to that I was explaining about I've had some issues with specifically Acropora, so I'm just going to barrel through, you know, all that sort of stuff. First things first, you'll have noticed there's been a slight change in the scape. It's been a big change in the scape on this side of the tank. Basically, as I explained, I was going alpha lever with the PO4 and all that, which is come right down. We're near enough talking about really where it should be. Later on in this video we'll have a quick look at some other things as a supplement to bringing the PO4 down. As I said prior, that I like to see basically the algae dying off, and there's quite a lot of algae, so you want to see it dying off, but at the same time you don't want it to remain dead in the tank, if you know what I mean. Like, so basically if you've got a bunch of air algae in your aquarium, you'll be getting your low phosphate readings and all that lot because the algae's eating up that phosphate or nitrates or whatever this scenario for you is. So you do what you do to bring those numbers that are there down, that you can't see but they are there. The algae's there, they're there. So when your algae starts dying off, because then there's a lack of nutrients, if that algae's not in one way or another removed from the aquarium, there's still a lot of algae in this that you can't really see it. I'm not making a car crash of this, you know. I'm too hungry. That's what it is. Algae breaks down and dies. All the nutrients that it was living off get released back into the system. If that's not continued to be taken out over a course of time, even once the algae's gone, there's still going to be sort of something going on, so you carry on doing whatever it is you're doing for a while. Otherwise your algae will grow back. Yeah? Because it's just gonna, you know, zombie its way back into the tank off the nutrients that have been re-released back into the water. So you do your major shit, you do all your water change, your whatever it is, where you want to bring the nutrients down maybe a little bit quicker. For anyone who's got some like really established corals and that, you don't want to be doing nothing too quick. Do whatever you do bit by bit, slow and steady, which is a pain in the ass if you're not a very patient person, but this hobby's all about patience, believe it or not. Then once you've figured out what's causing the algae problem in the first place, you'll implement some sort of ongoing, you know, whatever it is, decent skimmer, regular, consistent water changes with good quality water, keeping on top of your RODI water, making sure that, you know, keep on top of the TDS, all stuff like that, keeping on top of making sure you've got enough carbon source, whatever it is you're doing in that regard, like whatever you're dosing, no pox or any other fucking products out there, or whether you're doing it vodka or white rum or whatever it is, vinegar, sugar, keeping on top of your GFO and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, the point I was originally getting at is I was wanting to actually get out some of the algae physically, because I'll be honest with you, I got up one morning and it broke me. Like, it just pissed me off to see how shitty it looked and all the rest of it, so I just sort of got a brush and got in there. You have to scrub quite hard, and thought I fucking smashed up the scape. Even with it, you know, I had it all glued and stuff like that, except for that one middle plate. I didn't have that glue, that was just balanced, but I had the rest of it glued, but I fucking knocked it over anyway, and I fragged a couple of corals in the process, but it's bulked out the tank a little bit. Maybe this scape will be a little bit better. I technically have got a little bit more real estate. My marine better's gone into hiding. I discovered this sponge. Check that thing out. That's mad, isn't it? It's the right note. I can't get a good picture of it, to be honest with you, but it's that thing that it's slightly lighter than the two rocks. It's right in the middle. I'll try and get a decent shot of that somehow, like if I ever actually get around to cleaning this one panel, you'll be able to see it from that way, so when I sort that out then we'll get a better picture of it then. But it's like the size of my palm, easily, probably bigger than the size of my palm, and it's real thick too. So, and that whole rock is, other than the bit that we can see immediately in front of us, as well as the plates, just tons and tons of sponge growth. I knew there was good sponge growth in there, but I just like the PO4, I knew there was loads in there, I just didn't have no idea exactly how much. So this tank's also always had really really high silicates, and I know sponges will live off that stuff. They do consume silicates and stuff like that, so maybe that's why they're so fucking beefy, because they've got that much silicate to get through, that they're growing bigger. I was just explaining why I've got a rescope, because to be honest with you, I sound hypocritical, because this tank has seen a few different scapes, but traditionally I'd be more inclined to set it and forget it, is what people like to say. So I know I'd rather have something one way and figure out everything before corals have really got in there, especially SPS and LPS, to be honest with you, because if you have LPS on one bit of rock and then end up moving something in the future and you move it right into the line of flow, which you move the scape around without thinking, you know, what flows where, and then your LPS gets ripped up. That can be a ball ache, and I've done it myself, to be honest with you, a few years ago I've done that. On top of losing the two Acropora, which by the way, the remainders, I've got a bunch of colour back. I've got colours that I haven't seen, so even when I bought them I've got colours coming back. A lot of green, so we haven't got the real colour back yet, but slow and steady. Same growth on the one, you'll see in the video. And I've got polyp extension on both my Gorgonians, which haven't had polyp extension for 6 weeks, maybe more. Because I'm totally stoked with that. I've got really good growth on things. That Life started having another growth spurt. So those two acros that I lost freaked me out. I do panic over a lot. You know, I never want to lose anything. Could be any coral in there. You know, I'd be gutted if I lost Paulson Xenia. Extra gutted that I lost an acro, because that's kind of my goal, is to be able to keep acro in this tank, to prime myself for the dream build, if you know what I mean. I kind of wanted to hit the dream build at a younger age, so that when I'm, you know, X amount of years old, I can say that tank's been running for a bunch of time. So anyway, from the panic, I immediately went out and got these ICP and a NDOC. I wasn't really sure about the NDOC. I could have, you know, I might as well not have got it, because, you know, I'm really still learning about it myself. Triton have done one video on it, a part 1, and they've not bothered to do a part 2, so there's some things that I still really don't understand, to be honest, but I panicked, so I bought that too, thinking, you know, if there is anything on there worth knowing, then I want to know. So this is the best thing we've got for me to be able to do that. So closer look at the Triton test now, and then after that, close up of this. Like, comment and subscribe, follow the tank along. So let's have a quick look through this. This is probably, I guess you'd call it the nicest test I've had back. So that's I'll get back to that one, that LA, remember that. I'll come back to that in a sec. So you can see I've always had that look, this my calcium. It's always been just slightly under. I mean, I'm gonna get my FOSS PO4 right where I need it, because I know But I think PO4 can have some sort of weird effect on calcium, so I'm just going to get it to where I'm going to get PO4 where I want it, and then we'll have another look into calcium, and if it's still a bit off, you know, it's not far off at all, I just increase it a little bit, and but I'm not going to bother with bromine. I think I'm dosing that now anyway. I'm sure it's part of that quantum stuff I'm dosing. I'm sure it's in there with iodine and boron. I need to dose some of that. Again, not much. So we're getting into some of the more mad end of the spectrum now. Iodine, look at that. After all this time, the only thing is now with iodine is I'm at risk of it going too far, so I'll have to retest now, another ICP, so I'll give it a week or so. Oh, what have I done here? So I'll give it another week or so and retest, and we'll see where we are there. It's a touch higher than what they like it to be, so I'm happy with it being a touch higher. It doesn't bother me. It gives you a bit of space for buffer, not excessively high, not so low that it's gonna give me shit with my acros. So if you see this, look, this recommended 6 times 15% water changes with the Triton salt, blah blah blah. I should say they'll be getting that because of the still currently to them elevated PO4 levels, which again, by the time this video comes out, in fact by the time I recorded the video, I've got it to about where I want it, at 0.02 parts per million. And it's also because of that lananthum, elevated lananthum. I'm not sure where I want to go with that lananthum reading, because I know that there's lananthum in Quantum's PO4 reducer, which I'm using, but I'm not. I mean, I've never had that in any of my previous tests. I've been dosing that for a month or so, I don't know, and now I've got elevated levels of that. So that's what that's all about. So I mean, I could still do the water changes. That's no bother. But that's what it is. So lithium slightly high, and iodine slightly high. No, I'm not worried about that. Silicon's always been high. I'll have a quick look at dose, but it's going to be nothing. Yeah, I had a little bit of calcium, had a bit of boron, which by the time this video comes out I would have done. Bit of, what's that, bromine, whatever. A lack of sulfur. I don't know how I want to look at that. And then it's your fine tuning stuff now. So here's your NDOC. You have to click on summit. So I lost a couple of. Technically, I got 2 here because I had to deal with cyanobacteria, which would be due to me, you know, nutrient levels up and down, no stability in the nutrient levels. But I also lost some stony coral, so we'll click on that. From what I understand, they're working on more options for these. So, yeah. Right, anyway, we'll click on that one. So, TIC, what's that? Total inorganic carbon, I think. Total organic carbon, and then total carbon. So we're in the sweet spot, I think, near enough for all of these. TMB. Can't remember what that one is. Carbonate hardness. By the time I put this test out there, my alkalinity right now is on about 7, 9, 8, between 7, 9 and 8. But when I had done this, that was right, sat where it was. So I mean, it's always good to see that you have got an accurate test at home. you know, if I was doing these tests for alkalinity, I'd be, well, I couldn't afford it. It'd be, you know, 30 quid a day. I mean, sometimes I test alkalinity twice a day, you know, morning, first thing in the morning, and then last thing before I go to bed. So yeah, out of the question, that one. So there you are. Anyway, I haven't really got an accurate measure for this, so whatever. Well, that come from my most recent ICP, the PO4. So yeah, not a lot to say about this, to be honest with you guys. They're saying I'm looking good here, so you know, like I said before, they don't even want me to do anything. The reason I did this was just for, like, if there's any other snippet of information I could grab out. I'm like a fucking leech for info, so if there was one more thing I could know, I would want to know it. So I thought I'm going to do an NDOC. Now, as I start correcting my nutrients, get more consistency in my nutrients, I'm really hoping that all the colour in my aquarium fucking explodes. So, right guys, anyway, hope you enjoy the video. Catch you later. Keep it wet.